Um in this video, which is a continuation of the earlier one, we'll be looking into the contributions of history in GS paper 4, that is ethics, aptitude, and integrity, and also history as an optional. See, if you look into the GS paper 4, there are two kinds of questions. On first part, for around 100 marks, they will ask you about the moral thinkers, philosophers, their contribution, and at times you have to write with first person as well. That means like they may ask your opinion, what according to you may be the probability of governance, what according to you is honesty, integrity. So in that situation you will have a handy tool if you have a good uh, thorough knowledge of history, especially the philosophical part or the world history part. So see this, I'm just taking you to this code of ethics, citizens chapter, probity in governance, concept of public service, contributions of moral thinkers. See, maybe it's Vivekananda or Jiddu Krishnamurti. There are so many philosophers, even Indian philosophers to be precise. So, if you look into this, see this, some of the questions. Hatred is a destructive of person's wisdom and conscience that a poison that can poison a nation's spirit. See this, 2A. What are the main components of emotional intelligence that can be learned? That is something else. What teachings of Buddha are most relevant today and why? See, question number 3B. The will to power exists but can be tamed and be guided by rationality and principles of moral duty. Examine the statement in the context of international relations. So these questions clearly suggest that a good knowledge of history will be an added asset for GS paper 4. For example, 2A. Hatred is a destructive if a person's wisdom and conscience that can poison a nation's spirit. Do you agree with this view? Like we can clearly quote Gandhi in many ways, right? Because he has always told about hate the ideology, not the individual, right? So his Satyagraha has references of it. It has influences from uh, John Ruskin's Unto the Last. It has philosophical backgrounds from Immanuel Kant, who has always upheld the moral standpoint in every aspect. So if you look into this, uh, you will have a better chance of writing a good answer. And if you look, see this question number 3A. What teachings of Buddha are most relevant today and why? Discuss. 150 words, 10 marks. Buddha's concept of being non-attached and doing your duty, right? That is, in some other ways it's nishkama karma. And what according to Buddha was that non-attachment towards desire, right? The desire, because see, in the modern way, why would the civil servants become corrupt? Because they get greedy and the desire is overtaking their consciousness. So that is where even Buddha's teaching can be relevant today. See, question number 3B. The will to power exists but can be tamed and be guided by rationality and principles of moral duty. Examine the statements in context of international relations. See, for example, and although this is an earlier question, we can even put it into present day context where there is a war between Ukraine and Russia is going on. The will to power exists, but it can be tamed and guided by rationality and principles of moral duty. Since, see, Russia, if it was more guided by moral duty, why would it resort to a mindless massacre of civilians in cities like Bucha? And the way it has bombed civilian targets, and it has created problems mostly for the civilian public of Ukraine, and at the same time, due to international sanctions, it has affected Russia also. So these things can be linked to current affairs. This can be linked to history. This can be linked to international relations. That's the reason why I can tell you very comfortably that a knowledge of history will always help you in GS paper 1 as well as GS paper 4. Now, as an optional, I will say certain things. See this. Say and safe and mid-tier optional. Less fluctuation of marks if you are in grip with the subject. Less dependence on current affairs and researches. That's true, because mostly a kind of history that is being taught for UPSC is from a certain school of thought and with a certain prescribed set of books. So you don't have to look into UGC care listed journals or what is the new researches that are happening. Yes, to a certain extent. I'm not talking about no dependence, it's less dependent, maybe around 5 to 10 percentage. So if you have covered your topics portions well, it's good to go and it's well and good. And disadvantages, as I told you, see, if you are taking a subject like Malayalam literature or Pali literature subjects do have a chance to score good marks in optional, but they may not get that kind of an advantage in papers like GS1 or GS4. So difficult to score about 300 for English history candidates. I would say a good score, mostly maybe 280 plus is a good score. But I have seen people who are scoring above 300. They're mostly from the Hindi. Uh, I mean, like they write the exam in Hindi. So yes, so this is the importance of history in UPSC. So we have in this video we have concentrated on how it's important in GS paper 4 and history optional in general as well. And that's why we discussed a question paper of section A of GS paper 4. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for new videos, and please do subscribe if you are not subscribed the channel. Thank you. Have a nice day.